Ethan Armstrong back here tonight. We are on the deck of the Vic Gustafson pool here. I'm with head coach of the Gustavus Women's Swimming and Diving team, John Carlson. Tonight's topic of conversation, coach, is Alissa Tinklenberg. She was named the 2013-14 Student Athlete of the Year. It is the second women's swimmer in your program to ever receive this award. And another special thing, coach, she's the first ever two-time recipient of this since the turn of the century. First of all, congrats to Alissa on an outstanding senior season.
Yeah, it really was a great season, the best we've ever had in our program, and it's a great way for her to cap off an amazing 4 years in our program.
Well, to kick things off here, let's go back to the beginning. Your team had just won the 2010 MIAC Championship, fifth title in the past 9 seasons. This on paper looked to be the start of something big. Going into that next year, 2011, what were your recruiting goals? When did you first discover this girl from Wilmer, Minnesota?
Well, actually, Alissa had been to our swim camp, so I've known her for a long time, and I've always kept an eye on her. I always thought she was a very determined young athlete as a kid, and when it was time for her to be a senior, we really went after her, and it was kind of the place she wanted to go all along. So,
well, once you got her to commit finally and commit to your program, did you see her as an impact freshman? Was she coming in as an impact freshman? Basically, what was the impact that she made upon stepping onto campus and diving into this pool behind us?
Well, she really raised the level of expectation out of everybody as soon as she got here, and she did it through example of the expectations of herself, and I thought that I had something special here that was really going to help us keep rolling as a team.
So even right away, you kind of knew with this girl that she was going to be.
She was amazing right from the get-go, very determined and very passionate about swimming.
Well, her freshman season kind of had a different look to it when you look at the swims that she swam, primarily freestyle races at the MIAC Championships. She's MIAC champion in the 1600 free. What was Tink's role that rookie season? How did you see her filling in on this team?
Well, she came in as a distance swimmer for us, and but I knew she could do a lot of different things for us, and so we tried different things and stuck with the 1650 and started messing around with her backstroke a little bit, and she was on our relays as well, but we were thinking about transitioning her to different events as well.
Well, following that freshman season, Coach Carlson, Alissa maybe experienced what a lot of college athletes do, and that was whether they want to keep going. Why don't you talk about that transition from her freshman to her sophomore year?
Yeah, Alissa after that season was over, Alissa had kind of forgotten what she loved about swimming in the first place. She had been so focused on winning and doing well that she had decided she was going to transfer. She was going to transfer to a school that didn't even have swimming. And I just told her in our last meeting, I said, try to think back to why you love swimming in the first place. You always have to go back to that and see if you can find that joy. And I was at the airport coming back from tennis nationals and got a phone call from her, and she had changed her mind and was coming back and was very excited to swim. So I was very pleased with how that played out, and the kind of the discovery of that moment as well for her.
Is it funny looking back at that moment how you were maybe a threat away from losing the most decorated swimmer in your program's history?
Yeah. Well, in the end, I just wanted her to be happy, and if she couldn't find that love of swimming again, well, then I wished her all the best, and but I'm glad she did, and yeah, it did work out pretty well.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well, because from that point forward, Coach, we see her kind of settle into the swimmer I think that we'd see until the end of her career. Her sophomore season was one that, when I look back, it's maybe that put her name on the map for good. She wins 4 conference titles, later goes on to win 4 All-American honors at the NCAA championships. You've had freshmen have kind of similar seasons with accolades, but what was the difference between her freshman and sophomore season? What set her apart? What brought her to this elite status?
Again, it goes back to what we just talked about. She found her love for the sport and her love for trying to improve, trying to grow as a swimmer instead of whether she won or lost. And she realized, I think, having lost a little bit, that her friends still all loved her, and that kind of freed her up to really go after her goals big time.
And then we go on to her junior season. Alyssa's named the MIC Women's Swimmer of the Year. She won 6 races, took second in another. And that was a game-changing meet, in my opinion. You look back at that one, you have the added motivation for the race for Grace. And you have Alissa just dominating every race. And it seemed that the team fed off those two things and propelled you to another MIC championship.
Definitely. Alissa was our anchor that year, definitely putting up top performance after top performance. And not everything went great in that meet, but when you knew when Alissa stepped on the blocks that she was going to come out on top, that gave you confidence as an athlete that you could let go of a swim that didn't go as well as you'd hoped and renew and refresh and come up big yourself. And so I give her a lot of credit that junior year for really taking what was supposed to be a close meet and not making it close at all.
She goes on to the NCAA championships as a junior. She picks up 3 more All-America accolades. And at that point, she solidified herself as the most decorated swimmer in your program's history. Already with that status, you run the risk of maybe that she's going to see a lull in that senior season, putting in all the hours and the hard work. It's just kind of the opposite of what happened there exactly. Between her junior and senior year. Talk to me about that summer leading into her senior season, because it was quite the summer for Alissa right here in this pool. Yeah,
Alissa was as motivated as I've ever seen her. She had this uncanny gift of being able to remember that March is only a few months away. Actually, it was quite a few months away, but it didn't matter if it was June 20th. She was thinking of nationals, and she was trying to get herself ready and trained with such intensity, never missed a day, snuck into this building a couple times, actually, to get a workout in, and that just shows her drive. I think her goals and her aspirations drove her actions.
Amazing summer of workouts. Alissa Tinklenberg comes back fresh, looking like a rejuvenated swimmer, in my opinion. She helps the Gustavus women's swimming team complete the drive for 5. They win their 5th straight title. She's named the MIC Women's Swimmer of the Year for the 2nd straight season. She becomes the first swimmer in your program's history to ever accomplish such a feat. At the MIC Championship, she's dominant again. She wins all 7 of her races, breaks school, MIC, and meet records in 5 events. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better way to end her career on the conference level, could you?
No, it was really special. And we had a team theme of we wanted to not just win, because we had a pretty good idea that we were going to come out on top, but to put out a performance that is absolutely epic. And I took Alissa aside and let her know that you've got to lead us to this. And if you come out with epic performances, everybody else will too. And she had the best meet you could possibly have, winning all of her events, breaking 5 conference records. It was one of the greatest 3 days. Well, it was the greatest 3 days of Gustavus women's swimming at that conference meet, scoring more points than any team has ever scored at a conference championship.
Yeah, good point. And the team titles are very important to Alissa. And another funny story that comes out of that meet, Coach, is we were talking about after it was done how Alissa was named the Women's Swimmer of the Year, obviously, but it was like she wanted to give that to her teammates, didn't it?
Yeah, she came up to me before the voting and says, "Do not vote for me. Vote for Jenny Strom. Vote for one of my teammates. I've already won it. I want my teammates to win it." And I said, "Are you crazy? Absolutely not. You dominated this meet. No, you're going to get my vote, and you're going to get everybody's vote."
Yeah, always a humble competitor was Alissa. Well, she concludes her Gustavus swimming career at the IUPUI Natatorium, the NCAA Championships in Indianapolis. She earns 5 All-America honors. It's a personal best for her. She finishes 4th in the 200 breaststroke. That's another personal best. But more importantly to Alissa, Gustavus finishes 7th in the nation, the program's best ever performance at that level. When you look back at those 4 days, Coach, what stands out to you the most?
just how they were so focused every day. They had this perfect combination going of knowing when to be lighthearted and goofy and just kind of let the meet go, and then when to re-gear up and focus again. And again, Alissa was a great leader of her teammates and kind of showed. It's great because we had a lot of younger swimmers with her, and she kind of showed them this is how you do it at this level. And she had great performance after great performance. It was great to see her. She also had the fastest relay splits we've ever had. Her and Katie Olson kind of traded off, but of course Alissa, once Katie had it, then Alissa broke it right after that. So it was really fun to see, and what a great way to finish her career.
Well, with a career in the books, Coach, to bore you a little bit here because you've heard them all before, a few stats to throw out there. When you look back and sum this whole thing up, Alissa Tinklenberg led Gustavus to 4 MIAC championships, was a 12-time All-American, a 2-time MIAC Swimmer of the Year, recorded 24 total All-Conference swims, gathered 19 gold medals at MIAC championships, and recorded 229 points at her 4 MIAC meets, which is also a school record. Of all those school records and all the accolades that she got, when you look back at first recruiting her, did you imagine that she would turn into this unbelievable swimmer in your program?
There was something special about her even in high school, and I just loved the way she went about things, and her love of competition, and then her love of her teammates. I think that that of all the things, she would thank her teammates first before anything else. She would thank the inspiration that they gave them, and she has no idea how much she inspires her teammates as well. And it is to such a great length.
So to go away from the stats for a little bit and the numbers, not only is she your most decorated athlete in the swimming pool, but she also set a whole new classroom standard as well, with a cumulative GPA of 3.79 in accounting. She's a 2-time Capital One academic All-America. She earned first team honors this past season. An unbelievable student athlete. Talk about that relationship between her classwork and her work in the pool.
She just knew how to. She figured out the secret of just, if I work hard, things are going to work out. And she was very diligent about her studies, but always had time. She was great at compartmentalizing. When it was time to swim, she swam, and she did not think about schoolwork at all. When it was time to study, she didn't think about swimming at all. And she also, that's another interesting way where she helped her teammates. She had accounting tutoring for just our team every Sunday, 7 to 9, which of course, I don't know how she found time to fit that in, but she did as well. So
unbelievable. And you also look at her, you've touched on this a little bit, some of her leadership qualities. She's a 2-year captain. Only a few juniors are given the right to be a captain as a junior. But talk about her leadership style a little bit. I know you've talked about she's a lead by example, very humble, and the love of her teammates are all huge things. But talk to me a little bit about her leadership qualities.
She's a great leader, and she does lead by example, but every team needs that person that's not afraid to call a teammate out and say, hey, that's just not how we do it here. And a lot of times, many years, coaches will identify with this, that sometimes you don't have that person. Because it creates a confrontation, and Alissa did a good job of disarming those conversations, but yet still confronting someone and said, we don't do that this way. Mm-hmm. And I think that not only leading by example, she had credibility because of how she went about things when she would call someone out about a behavior or actions in the pool that weren't going to make the team better. So I can't say enough about her leadership qualities, and it took bravery and courage, and you had to show it by example.
And away from the pool maybe, and away from swimming, what are Alissa's best qualities as a person? Because not only is she, and you've told me this many times before, not only is she a great student, a great athlete, but she's just a great human being in general. So tell me about her best qualities as a person.
She is a friend forever. I feel lucky to call her a friend now that I'm not her coach.
Yeah.
But I considered her a friend when I was her coach. And she is loyal beyond belief. And I feel as if, and I hope she feels the same way, if I ask her if I need something, she would do it without a second thought. And just knowing that she's always there and always reliable and deeply cares about the people that she interacts with. There's a special quality about people that make you feel a little bit better about yourself every time you see them, and Alyssa's one of those people.
She also seems like the type of alum that you're going to have now that's going to watch this program for many, many years down the line, isn't she?
Absolutely. She's a huge fan of her teammates. She's a huge fan of Gustavus.
Yeah.
And I think she loves to follow all the sports, but she'll definitely follow what's going on in the pool for years to come.
What's Alyssa's lasting impact going to be on this program? How would she be remembered by her teammates, coaches, fans? It's funny for me to look back and you see this contrast between the trademark Alissa Tinklenberg smile and then the signature Alissa Tinklenberg game face, where she can just turn it on a moment's notice. When it's time to swim, it's time to swim. What's her impact going to be on this team down the line?
It's a great question, because already I see behaviors that she has that are being reflected in other people. And I think sometimes you forget that you make a little ripple and it affects other teammates. And I'll see bits of Alissa passed on to her teammates, who will pass it on to other teammates. And down the line, 10 years from now, I'll know I've been here the whole time. I'll see that train of things that Alissa brought to the program that have been passed down through different athletes year to year. And as a coach, I got a million great stories to tell teams in the future about Alissa and her career and how she went about accomplishing what she did.
Well, she went about it the right way. This program is definitely on the right track. Alissa has definitely left this swimming and diving team in a position to be successful many, many years down the line. So for Ethan Armstrong and John Carlson here from the Vic Gustafson Pool, thanks for listening and watching the second installment of the Student Athlete of the Year. Congrats to Alissa once again.